This luncheon gives you, our guests, an opportunity, first of all, to learn more about the impact that Boys and Girls Clubs have in the lives of its members, and also the opportunity to meet some really special young people. And this year's Youth of the Year luncheon takes on added significance because we have begun to celebrate our 50th anniversary celebration of serving young people in our community. The tagline for our 50th anniversary celebration is amazing past and present, great futures to come. And many of you in this room have been a part of or know about the amazing accomplishments of the past. Today you'll have an opportunity to experience the amazing present when you listen to the stories from these 5 young people. And right now our volunteer leadership is working to ensure that more children will have the opportunity to attend their Boys and Girls Club more often and with greater impact than at any time in our history, thus ensuring great futures for young people for decades to come in our community. This is a wonderful celebration. It also gives us an opportunity to recognize some of our former Boys and Girls Club members on our website, wakebgc.org. You can go on there and you can click the alumni section and you can read some pretty neat stories from some of our former club kids, and that'll be going on through our entire celebration. This anniversary also gives us an opportunity, a new project that we're doing this year that we're really excited about, and it's called DJF Builds Great Futures. And this is a partnership between Boys and Girls Clubs, DJF Builders, and Allen Tate Realtors. And this is how it works. Dennis Fitzgerald and his company are building a 6,000 square foot show home inside the Raleigh Beltline. This home will feature works of renowned decorators, highlighting the latest trends in design and decor and so forth in the home. Home is scheduled to be completed by mid-November, at which time ticketed tours will be available to the public. And then when the home is sold, the proceeds will go to support the mission of our Boys and Girls Clubs here in Wake County. So it's a great opportunity here in our 50th anniversary year. I also want to recognize some special guests here today who, if you will, when I call your name, if you'll stand, and that way we'll just applaud one time for you. But from the Wake County Commissioners, Caroline Sullivan, Sig Hutchinson, and County Manager Jim Hartman. From Wake County Board of Education, Bill Fletcher. From Raleigh City Council, Corey Branch, himself a former club kid, and Bonner Gaylord, I think I saw Bonner come in. From Senator Burr's office, Betty Jo Shepard. From Senator Tillis's office, Austin Scheer. Did I miss any other representatives or their representatives or elected officials? Let's give them all a big hand for being here. Thank you for joining us today. Now there's one thing that almost all of the nearly 5,000 Boys and Girls Club members have in common, and that is that they attend the Wake County Public Schools. And we have with us today some staff members from the Wake County Schools, and I wanted to recognize them and ask them to stand at this time. Brenda Elliott, Brenda here, Brenda. Sarita Smith, Sarita here. Great. And Kathy Moore. And if there are any others, please stand and let's give them a round of applause. For 70 years, Youth of the Year has been Boys and Girls Clubs of America's premier recognition program highlighting the successes and the accomplishments of club teams. And for the second consecutive year, we have expanded our competition here in Wake County to include a futures division so that we could recognize some of our outstanding younger teenagers, but also to give them good preparation for the competition, kind of the varsity competition a little bit later on. And as you know, for these young people to stand before you and speak certainly takes initiative, takes preparation, and takes just plain courage. And I can tell you that these young people certainly have they have the initiative and they have the courage. And they're very fortunate to have a great coach to help prepare them for their presentations today. And that coach is, again, Lorraine Stevens, one of our board members. Lorraine, thank you very much for your work for that. And now, before I turn the podium over, it's my honor to introduce the MC for today's program, Donzel Newkirk. Donzel is a former Boys and Girls Club member. He's a graduate of Leesville Road High School, a graduate of North Carolina A&T University, and he's now a product manager for the Think Vision and Think Center portfolios for Lenovo North America. So as Donzel is coming forward, again, let me thank you for being here to celebrate the accomplishments of our young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Capps. 20 years later from the Boys and Girls Club, I still have to put a handle on his name because I feel a little, my script says call him Ralph, but I don't feel good calling you Ralph 20 years later, so thank you, Mr. Capps, for that. Good afternoon. As Mr. Capps mentioned, being a recipient of the Youth of the Year is a big privilege. I was a participant back in 2001. I am the Raleigh Boys Club Youth of the Year recipient in 2001. I also won the Wake County Youth of the Year in 2001 as well, and finished second runner-up for the state for that year. So I understand what these individuals have gone through as they sit here today. I am just as nervous as they are because I'm talking about the Boys Club and not my portfolio for Lenovo. So please bear with me, but again, just give these young individuals a round of applause for what they've done so far. So again, established in 1947, the Youth of the Year program recognizes teens for their service to their club, the service that they do in the community, as well as what they do in their family. All right. This year alone, we had 20 team members from the Boys and Girls Club to participate in our competition this year. And the 20 candidates took part in leadership sessions, as Mr. Capps already mentioned. They also participated with college professors, academic counselors, as well as writing tutors and other professionals. These teams work hard with their mentors every week to get prepared for this competition, which actually accumulated up to 6 months up until this point today. All right. Are there any mentors in the room today? If you are, please raise your hand. Please give our mentors a round of applause as well. That's a lot of time and commitment that they put in our young people, and they did not have to do that. All right. So let me give you a few statistics. The average length of membership for our Youth of the Year finalists is 6.5 years, with an average GPA of 3.0. Also, North Carolina teens fall sharply below the national volunteer rate, ranking them 44th in the nation, and Raleigh residents rank 48th out of 51 of the largest cities in number of hours volunteered. Challenging the status quo, the average number of volunteers hours for our Youth of the Year finalists is 76 for the past 12 months. That's a lot of community service work, so job well done. Right? The teens that you will hear from today are not only outstanding young people. I've had the opportunity to sit on a panel to judge them as well when they were awarded a couple weeks back. But again, they're going to tell you heartfelt stories. Each one represents their club. There's also a Wake County Youth of the Year winner here today. And when they finish, I will also give you a little bit about my background and my time with the club as well. So up first, we have, actually she is a two-time Futures Division winner, Miss Alam Azizbi. Alam is 14 years old. She joined the Brentwood Boys and Girls Club in August 2008. She is an honor roll 9th grade student at Millbrook High School. She demonstrates very positive leadership skills and commitment to the club. She keeps herself very active, as well as participates in stop motion animation, photography on the run, and soccer for success. So please allow me to introduce Alam.
Good afternoon. Let me ask you something. How much money do you have in your pocket right now? Well, let me ask you this. What can you do with $10 and 2 pennies? Well, that's what my parents had when they came to America from Morocco. Their dream was to have a better quality of life than the one that they had in Morocco. My mom and dad worked extremely hard providing my siblings and me with everything that we needed. There wasn't a time in my life where I wasn't full or didn't have clothes on my back, so just for that, I'm extremely thankful. I remember when I was 8 years old. I would wait for my mom to come home from her long night shifts at Kroger. Whenever she did come home, I could see how tired she was, and I began to feel the weariness in her soul. I remember thinking to myself, I wish I could help Mom out. From then on, that was my motivation. I wanted to give back to my mom because she did everything for me. She was my everything. Around my 5th grade year, I finally convinced my mom to make me a member at the Brentwood Boys and Girls Club. I was 11 when I joined, and it's been an amazing 4 years at the club. Being at the club is an extraordinary experience. I get to interact with younger members at the club and guide them through homework. I was also able to lead them during gym and help girls during cheerleading. I get the opportunity to participate in activities like Soccer for Success, film editing, where we got to experiment with stop motion animation, and I also got to participate in the Youth of the Year, which I won for 2 years. The club is the reason why I'm striving for success and has also been there for me when I was down. In June 2014, my baby brother Ryan was born. That same month, my dad was diagnosed with depression. As a result of this, he began to experience insomnia and constant anxiety attacks. This wasn't something new to my family. My grandpa has also suffered from this as well. That month marked my family's weakest point. The atmosphere in my house held so much negativity, and whenever I had the opportunity to leave the house, I did, and I went to the club. My dad would break down in front of me at least twice a day and wouldn't sleep a wink at night. At that point, my mom grew even wearier, and at that time, I was the one taking care of my siblings. That was the year that my perspective on life changed. I remember my dad urging me to do my best in school, to not sell myself short. He didn't want me to grow up and go to a job that I hated for 8 hours a day just to survive. He didn't want me to have a job. He wanted me to have a career. He constantly reminded me that an hour of my life is worth more than $8 an hour. My dad had to wake up and go to a job that he hated every day just to provide for us. He said if he had a way to imprint these words in my head, he would. Seeing my father at his weakest points made me more aware of the things around me. I prayed every night that I wouldn't have to see him like that ever again. I have a goal in my mind, and I feel that programs like Youth of the Year were programs that got me closer and closer to it. I want to be one of the few in my family that didn't sell themselves short. I want to go to work, make good grades, and work hard. I want to go to school, work hard, and get good grades, and stay focused. I can't just say I want to be successful. I have to put in effort and work to become successful, and I feel that my Boys and Girls Club will help and guide me as I continue paving my path to success. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Alam. Up next, Mr. Joshua Presley. Joshua is a senior at Southeast Raleigh High School. He has been a member of the Washington Elementary Boys and Girls Club for 7 years. At the club, you can find him mentoring young club members, also being a team leader on the basketball team. Joshua plans to attend Wake Tech Community College, where he's interested in culinary arts. Joshua?
Hi. Growing up was a challenge. From seeing things I didn't want to see, to being near things I didn't want to be near, and nearly becoming someone I thought I wanted to be. Someone with no friends and no future. And being a fourth of 6 children with a history of 0 diplomas, but many criminal records, for a while it seemed as if I was heading in the same direction. I was 12 years old when I first came to the Washington Boys and Girls Club. My first thoughts when I came was, what is this place? I mean, it didn't even look like a Boys and Girls Club. It was just 4 trailers and a gym. I thought to myself, where's the vending machine? Where's the guy in the commercial? Where's Shaq? Not knowing that this club would prevent me from becoming a future statistic and would help me to be that club's Youth of the Year winner. My first day at the Boys and Girls Club was one of my most memorable. I didn't know anyone, so naturally, I was quiet and reserved at first. But suddenly I heard someone call my name, Josh. I looked back, hoping to see someone familiar, but instead I seen this kid who sort of looks my age. He tells me his name is Ajamu, but just call him Jamu for short. He asked me if, before I could even ask him how he knew my name, he asked me if I wanted to play basketball with him. I slowly agreed at first, and so we shot around for a little while. But when we finished, we sat down and I asked him, do you really like it here? I mean, it's not really a Boys and Girls Club. He's like, yeah, man, this is my house. And in that moment, I didn't quite understand what he meant. But years later, I fully understand. 6 years later, that kid Ajamu, he went on to win the Youth of the Year competition for the whole organization. And his word still sticks to me about the Boys and Girls Club becoming his home today. Because the Boys and Girls Club, it's not just the after school program for me anymore. It's my home also. A home where I can find endless love, support, and life-changing role models. First off, my father. He was my best friend, my personal counselor, just everything I could ask for and even more. But due to prostate cancer, I lost him a few years back. Then there's Taquan. Who's now my best friend. We met at the club, and at first, I really didn't like him at first, honestly. He was loud and immature, and just someone I didn't want to be around at first. But through the years, I watched him grow from a wild teenager to a respectable young man and a role model, my role model. Finally, that's my club director, Mr. Eric. Mr. Eric is truly one of the most amazing men I've ever met in my entire life. Because of him, I've been able to experience things I couldn't even think about if I never met him. The reason these guys stick out to me today is because I've watched these men go through some of the most difficult things that anyone could ever go through with grace. And watching them overcome their personal struggles and their personal lives gave and still gives me the drive to persevere through anything that may come my way. Since my father passed away, Taquan and Mr. Eric, they've been two of the only people I could go to with my problems, and they'll help me through it. For example, I'm in my 5th year of high school. I didn't have enough freshman credits to graduate on time. And at that moment in time, I was more concerned about what my peers thought about me and how they encouraged me to just drop out and get a job. But when I looked at my role models, they constantly reminded me of my potential and my possibility to end my family's cycle of poverty and create a new path for myself and my two younger siblings. And in that moment, I decided to change my life forever. I made a decision to persevere through any difficult things I may ever go through in my life. And as of today, I have no criminal record, and in May, I'll be the first person in my family to get a high school diploma. Permanently ending my family cycle. Permanently ending my family's cycle of poverty and started a new road of success for myself and my two younger siblings. And I owe all of that to my role models, Mr. Eric and Taquan, and my father. I've heard people say if it wasn't for the Boys and Girls Club, they don't know where they would be. For me, it's simple. If it wasn't for the Boys and Girls Club, I wouldn't be anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. Mr. Caps, you may want to get your donation bag and put it out in the lobby, because these stories, man, it's a good time to collect some donations today, man. But again, thank you, Joshua. Next up, we have DeMonica Blunt, a senior at East Wake High School. She has been a member of the Zebulon Boys and Girls Club for 6 years. DeMonica serves as junior staff, cheer instructor, and tutor. DeMonica is currently weighing her options between Old Dominion University and Winston-Salem State University, where she has already been accepted. Please welcome DeMonica.
Good afternoon. My mother had me at the age of 17. Her life was not the best, and she wanted better for me. I was born in a small town named Chocowinity, located near Greenville, where opportunities were limited. As soon as my mother could, she got out. We moved about 3 times before finding our home in Wendell. And this is how my journey with the Zebulon Boys and Girls Club began. The club wasn't always where I wanted to be. At first, it was just a place for me to go after school activities, but it quickly became a second home to me. Attending the Zebulon Boys and Girls Club has helped me climb the ladder of success in my academics and character. When I first started attending the club, I was in the 6th grade. My character could be described as shy, timid, and soft-spoken. But my Boys and Girls Club has helped shape me into the courageous, confident, and outspoken person I am today. As a member of the club, I participated in an all-girls group led by Miss Aisha. In this group, we discuss our values, life goals, and education. Miss Aisha helped me come to the realization of how important my education really is. My great-grandmother, grandmother, and mother all had jobs that did not require a college degree. And because of this, they struggled to provide for their families. I did not want this to be me. I have not always been an AB student. In fact, when I first started attending the club, I had a CD average. Miss Aisha would sit me aside and help me where I lacked knowledge. If it had not been for the Boys and Girls Club and Miss Aisha, I don't know what my grades would look like at this moment. However, I am now a senior in high school with a 4.1 GPA, taking advanced placement course. Not only has the club played a major role in my education, but it has also played a big role in building me up as a leader. The first leadership role I earned while attending the club was junior staff. As a junior staff, I helped younger members with homework, ran games and activities alongside of staff, and most importantly, I set a good example for all members who attended the club. 2 years ago, I also received the role as cheerleading coach. As cheerleading coach, I helped build up the self-esteem of young girls who attended the club, taught them to have confidence in themselves and what they do. Earning this role meant a lot to me because I began to realize how much I had grown since I first started attending the club. And now I was given the opportunity to help other young girls do the same. Being a leader in my club has opened many doors for me. A few years ago, I was chosen to attend Camp Challenge. I stayed in the mountains for 1 week with other club members. The most memorable activity from Camp Challenge was high ropes. High ropes were actually high, and despite the name, it didn't register to me that I would soon be what felt like 300 feet off the ground. I was afraid of heights and was ill-prepared for this. While climbing the ladder, I experienced a great amount of fear. Little did I know this would be the easiest part of the course. While I was up what felt like 300 feet off the ground, my friends were on the ground cheering me on. I sang the songs I learned earlier through the whole course. He was a big, tall man, he was a desperado, and Louise, Louise, come up from out of those trees. Not to mention I hated these songs. But the support of my friends and those annoying songs got me through. The moral of the story is, climbing the ladder is the easy part. Staying up is the hard part. As I prepare to leave for college and begin a new journey, I vow to never forget where I came from and the people who helped me get to where I am today. I appreciate everything I have learned while attending the club, such as how to lead by example, setting myself up for success rather than relying on others, and encouraging everyone to follow their dreams. If I could leave behind one message for today's youth, it would be the only way out is up. And if you wish to succeed, you must climb the ladder of success. I am proud to say that I will be a first-generation college student. I have been accepted into many universities, however, I am now deciding between Old Dominion University and Winston-Salem State University. My hard work and dedication has clearly paid off. Thank you.
Thank you, DeMonica. Austin, you have your hands full, man. Just letting you know. All right, so, no, all jokes aside. Up next is Austin Panamino. Austin is a senior at Wake Forest High School. For 11 years, Austin has actively participated in various leadership, athletic, and academic programs at the Wake Forest Boys and Girls Club. He is known for working hard and being encouraging and supportive of others. Austin has been accepted and will attend North Carolina State University in the fall. Austin, it's yours. I'm sorry, I'm short.
When I was younger, my mom worked a late shift at Kroger. With her crazy hours, she couldn't be home with me and my brother. So she had to find a safe place for us to go after school. Since my older brother grew up in the Wake Forest Boys and Girls Club, Mom naturally went to Hugh, the director of the club at the time, begging him to let us in even though we weren't technically old enough to join. He gave in, and we started the very next day. Like any other kindergarten kid, I did not know what to expect on my first day at the club. I don't remember much as far as my early years went. I do, however, remember just how tall of a man Hugh was and still is. I specifically remember a time when I was running around the front desk with my best friend right behind me, chasing me. And yes, of course, Hugh had to approach us and gave us a talk about just how foolish we looked. Being that little and standing in front of a man so tall, I remember just how much I had to look up to him, literally. Looking back, I realized just how lucky I was when my mom signed us up for the club 13 years ago. During my first few years at the club, I did what most kids do. Played sports, did my homework, went to the art room, and participated in community service projects. As I got older, I had a chance to get involved with more specific programs. One of the first big projects that I remember doing was in 7th grade with one of the craziest, weirdest, and most awesome staff members ever, Lenny. He taught us a lot of great things in the computer lab and other areas, including a Cuban cooking class in the kitchen. The best and most beneficial project to me was a claymation stop animation movie in which we made characters, created a scene, and developed the plot. We had to move the figures, take a picture, move them, take a picture, move them, take another picture, move them, and take, yep, you guessed it, another picture. The process took a very long time, but when it was all said and done, we submitted it to a video Disney competition. We won $10,000 from the video we created, and that money went towards new computers and supplies in the computer lab. Since I was in middle school at the time, $10,000 seemed like a huge and unfathomable amount of money, but now it only covers a semester in regular college. However, it felt great and awesome to know that I had done something to help my club. One day, Jason, a staff member of the club, asked me if I wanted to play ice hockey. I'd been playing street hockey, and he told me about a new program between the clubs and the Carolina Hurricanes. It was called Capital City Crew. It was one of the best things that could have happened in my life. The practices were every Monday at the Iceplex, and so began my struggle with the meeting of my bottom and the hard, icy floor. I was not alone in this struggle. Other club members were perhaps falling far more than I was. Nonetheless, I got better. The coaches taught us that no matter how hard you fall or how many times, you can always get right back up. As years went on, I became a junior coach and was able to help kids get on the ice who were just like me. 6 years ago, I was chosen to go on a trip to Buffalo, New York with Jason for the Willie O'Ree Hockey Sales Weekend. It was the first and only time so far in my life that I have flown on a plane. It was a great and unique experience where we of course played hockey and had some famous buffalo chicken wings at the birthplace, the Anchor Bar. I would have never had this amazing experience if it weren't for my club. As I was involved with Capital City Crew, I was also involved with the Keystone Club, where I helped plan events for members, as well as help with community projects. The experience that I got from Keystone Club gave me further encouragement that I could do more for my club and others. So in 2014, I became a lifeguard at our very own Camp BTI. This will be my 3rd year out there. If you haven't noticed the theme today, let me say that clubs change lives every day for kids and families. My mom is working right now, but if she were here, she would want to be up on this stage telling everyone that she would not have known what to do if it weren't for Hugh and the club staff working so hard to provide a safe place for us, and ultimately an extended family that we have not have had the opportunities and support that we continue to have from them today. Since she isn't here, let me say thank you for the experience and support that you have continued to provide my family over the past 13 years. Thank you.
Move this back down now, Austin. Hugh, can you stand up for me? How tall are you, man? Can you stand up? Can everyone? I don't know if everyone knows you. That's Hugh. So, our last speaker actually makes me feel a little bit different in a good way. This is my version of the Heisman, or for you golfers, the Masters, where you get the opportunity to kind of pass that torch. So our next speaker that's coming to the podium is Stephen Coloco. He is our 2016 Organizational Youth of the Year, or our Wake County Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year. He's a junior at Wake Young Men's Leadership Academy, where he's currently taking early college admission courses at St. Augustine's University. Over the past year, Stephen has participated in North Carolina County Commission's Youth Summit, as well as the Governor's Page program, both through his Boys and Girls Club initiative. Stephen has become very interested in politics, plans to either attend Wake Forest University or NC State University, and then eventually become an attorney after attending Central School of Law. So without further ado, Stephen Coloco.
Again, you know.
Yeah. Vertically challenged here, man. I'm sorry.
Before I start, Mom, could you please stand up? Today is a very special day. Today is April 28th, 2016. It's my mother's birthday. You've created a wonderful young man. I am so proud of you. So proud. I mean, honestly, she's strong, intelligent, beautiful. I'm handsome, you know. But I definitely want to thank you for everything you've done. I definitely take your advice, especially those late nights when we're in the car together and you give me the best advice in the world, especially on regarding Youth of the Year. So I definitely want to thank you, and happy birthday, Mom. 4 years ago, a young man was driven to despair. His family had been in the midst of losing their home. His father had not taken much time out to spend with his son. This young man felt lost and unappreciated. In the past, he made some terrible decisions. He had convinced himself that the only way to earn respect was to prove how tough he was. You see, his story fit the stereotypical narrative of a troubled black male that had no future set out for himself, that could end up either dead or in jail. But to avoid this common perception, he sought the guidance he needed to choose a better path. So his mother reached out to the Raleigh Boys Club because she knew it provided the resources that were foundational to his character. When I went to the Boys and Girls Club, I was then introduced to the club director, Mr. Durrell. Mr. Durrell always told me if I needed anything, just ask, because the worst thing he could say was no. But what this kid needed was a positive role model, someone to talk to every day after school. So I would sit in his office every day after school and talk to him about things I struggle with, whether it be at home, school, or even the club. One thing he would always say to this kid that always relieved stress was, "Stephen, remember, you're just a kid." Thank you, Mr. Durrell. Similar to Mr. Durrell, another positive mentor was Mr. Wally. Mr. Wally was an economics professor at NC State, and during his free time tutored math, which so happened to be one of this kid's worst subjects in middle school. So I would sit with Mr. Wally twice a week to make sure I would pass math. So we didn't only talk about math, we discussed our interests we shared, like NC State basketball. This young man named Stephen. One of Stephen's favorite things to do at the Boys Club was to go to the Raleigh Boys Club and go attend the first Friday sleepover. Just to have a huge sleepover with all his friends, eat junk food all night, play video games, and have midnight pickup games of basketball. Nights like those at the club were the best. Eventually, he grew older, and he transitioned from the Raleigh Boys Club to the Teen Center. The first day I walked in, I felt an instant sense of comfort when the director, Cook, told me that he was happy to see me, and he yelled my club nickname, "Cornbread!" One of the cool things about the Teen Center was the building provided opportunities for all interests. My interest happened to be politics. Not too long ago, I was introduced to many local politicians. One I happened to keep in contact was Mayor Nancy McFarland. I took advantage of the opportunity to meet with her for lunch. Days after, I emailed her to follow up to see if she would actually enjoy that. I honestly didn't think she would respond, but the day I got an email, I ran in my mother's room yelling and dancing, "I'm having lunch with the mayor." This happened to be one of the most exciting days of my life. When we had lunch, I not realized the interest we shared in art, but also supporting youth leadership activities. One of the hardest questions she asked me was, "Well, Stephen, what do you want from me?" At the time, I was just honored to have lunch with the mayor, but I asked for her continuous support and to keep in contact. With these positive surroundings, I was able to create my own success by the opportunities given to me at the club. Now imagine, you just received an email from a kid, and I wanted to meet for lunch. But I struggled tremendously in school with keeping my grades up, attended over 25 lunch detentions, and been suspended twice. Would you have sat down with that kid, or would you have disregarded this request? Well, that same young man stands before you today with a different attitude. I am now the 2016 Wake County Youth of the Year. I represent the Wake Young Men's Leadership Academy while taking early college admission courses at St. Augustine's University. I've taken part in programs such as Movement and Youth. I have attended Campbell's University Law School Youth Event. I have sat down with leaders in my community, shared lunch. They offer guidance, even internships. They listen, encourage, and inspired me. Why? Because they see the potential and the impact clubs place within me to become a great leader within my community. I can remember when my director told me about an opportunity out in Greenville to attend the North County Commissioners Youth Summit. There, I met Chairman James West, Vice Chairman Sig Hutchison, and County Commissioner Betty Lou Ward. I would like to thank the Boys Club for giving me opportunities such as those. And with the support of the staff members, board members, and volunteers, I realized my potential to foster positive change amongst my peers is a gift. And with that, I will not let you down. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephen. Bring this back down again. Help me give these participants a round of applause one more time, because it takes a lot of courage to get up and stand in front of you guys and be able to present their story. I think each of them almost shed a tear, actually. You know, these stories are deep, and I'm kind of looking at my story now and looking back at Mr. Capps and Ms. Heather, and I'm like, you should have let me go first, right? Because I don't know how to top these individuals, but I'm going to put my script to the side and actually talk to you guys about my experience, if you don't mind. So, first off, as Mr. Capps mentioned, I am a graduate of Leesville Royal High School, class of 2001. Also graduated from North Carolina A&T State University. Councilman, Aggie Pride. But the club, my parents divorced when I was 4. So the kids that come into, I'm gonna speak on behalf of the boys club, not the girls club, so no pun intended, ladies. The kids who come and go in the boys club today come from different backgrounds. Some of them are from fatherless homes, foster care, they come from good situations. I came from a good home. Although my parents divorced, you know, we were okay. We were not in a bad place. But when they did divorce, I moved in with my grandparents, because at that time, my mom was working 2 jobs. And so my grandparents lived in a neighborhood called Washington Terrace, which is right next door to the Raleigh Boys Club. And so I didn't start in the Boys Club early like most kids. I actually grew up in the city of Raleigh Parks and Rec. And so I participated at Worthdale Community Center up until 1994-ish, when I started to go to the Boys Club, just more so from an after-school program standpoint. And at that time, the club director was Ron Williams, Mr. Ron Williams, and the physical education piece was led by Mr. Rodney McLam, and then the educational piece was led by Ms. Heather, who's sitting in the back. And so at that time, the common theme for all 3 of those individuals was just dream big. You know, you can accomplish anything that you want. Everything is not always going to go your way. You're always going to have some challenges, and we did. He talked about the sleepovers. I think Councilman Branch can talk about the sleepovers back when he went to the club. Those were some of the best nights. You know, again, you have the opportunity to be with your friends, eat junk food, right, and play basketball. The one thing that was important to us was basketball. You take basketball away from the kids at the Boys and Girls Club, it's a sad day. It's a funeral. Just gonna be very honest with you. So the one story I want to talk to you guys about basketball, I played basketball in middle school, Leesville Road. I also played basketball in high school, 3-year varsity. But I knew my role. I was a role player. Right? I started my senior year. We lost in the state championship that year to Winston-Salem Reynolds. And I always told my teammates at that time, I'm going to make it to the NBA. Even though I'm a role player, I'm 5'6", vertically challenged, as we can see from the podium, but I'm going to make it to the NBA. And that's one of the conversations that I had with club director Ron Williams at that time. Every year we had a club team that we traveled to play other clubs in the Wake County area, in the North Carolina area. He said, They called me Festus. His nickname was Cornbread. They called me Festus. Festus, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. But what you can do is you can go get your degree and make it on the business side, right? And so that stuck with me. And so I told all my high school teammates, hey, I'm gonna make it to the NBA right before you guys. I'm gonna be at the NBA All-Star game. I'm gonna be in the NBA Finals. And they're like, yeah, right. Fast forward to college. I graduated from North Carolina A&T State University. My first job out of college was with the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right. So to this point, I moved to Cleveland. No family, no friends. Took the opportunity to work in the NBA. Was there for 2 years. All right. Had the opportunity to watch LeBron at that time in his prime and youth, but got an opportunity with the ownership with Dan Gilbert. He flew the wholesale staff out to San Antonio, Texas, because that year they played the San Antonio Spurs in the finals. And so, again, you can do anything that you put your mind to. All right, get your education, even if it's from a community college. That doesn't matter, right? You can use that. So I say this to you guys that from that point, again, my grandparents raised me. Both of my grandparents became ill. One with dementia and Parkinson, and the other one with cancer. So I moved back from Cleveland, back home, and I've been with Lenovo for the past 7 years. All right, so I do have representation here from Lenovo from Ms. Susan Kuntz that's behind there. But with Lenovo, it's been good to me, and we're good to the Boys and Girls Club. We're always giving back to the community. Stephen was there 3 weeks ago, where I had the privilege of introducing him to my whole sales organization as the Wake County Youth of the Year. And we also presented him with a brand new computer that he can use when he gets ready to go to college. So again, the Boys and Girls Club is here to stay. It's a place that everyone is always welcome. It's always a little hesitant first when you're stepping into an environment that you're not comfortable with. I will tell the teens today that you guys I'm jealous. There's a brand new facility on 721 North Raleigh Boulevard that wasn't there when I was there. And we had a little small room in the Boys Club that was our teen center. So if I can give you any feedback, is take care of your property. Don't let anyone else come in and vandalize your property. Take care of your property, all right? Also, the last thing. The most important piece of the Boys and Girls Club that stands out to me is how much it costs. When I joined the Boys Club back in 1994, it was $7.50. When I talked to Mr. Capps a couple weeks ago, Mr. Capps, how much does it cost for the Boys and Girls Club? $7.50. So what he's able to do with the amount of money that these kids pay for membership and the amount of fundraising and donation that comes in, please continue to do that. Because as you heard from these 5 individuals and the stories that they told you today, it means something to them. It means something to me, and it means something to the entire club leadership staff. All right, so thank you for allowing me to talk to you guys today, for allowing me to be your MC. I'm going to take this opportunity to ask all the club directors to please come forward. And as I call your name, please present your member. Again, Ms. Alam Azizbi. Mr. Joshua Presley. Ms. Demonica Blunt. Mr. Austin Panamino. And our 2016 Wake County Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year, Mr. Stephen Coloco. All right, If you would like to congratulate our candidates, they will be waiting just outside in the hall to greet you. Now, before we leave, I want to ask you one huge favor before you guys step out this door, and that's for the guests, not you guys. On each of your tables, there are note cards. Please take a moment to write one or more of our winners a quick note. Or if you have your phone, tweet them a message with their personal hashtag @WakeBGC, hashtag, and if you look on the back of the program, you see 5 hashtags here. So Stefan is hashtag leader, Joshua is hashtag family, DeMonica is hashtag success, Alam is hashtag mission, Austin is hashtag service. I would like to add one hashtag if I could. That's Donzel, hashtag I am Lenovo. All right. Last but not least, thank you again for joining us for the 7th annual Youth of the Year luncheon. Please stop by, spend some time with our winners. They've worked very hard to get to this point, and we know some of you guys out there are hiring, so in a couple of years, be expected to hire them as well. All right. Thank you and have a great day.